Stores in Argentina allowed to reopen as gradual lifting of COVID-19 restrictions continues. George Floyd will be laid to rest in Houston on Tuesday, next to his mother, Larcenia Floyd. Burundi's President Pierre Nkurunziza has died of heart attack at the age of 55. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ernesto Dominguez from Telesur Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with this news. Stay with us. In Argentina, clothes and shoe stores are allowed to reopen in Buenos Aires with the gradual lifting of restrictions following more than 2 months of coronavirus lockdown. This will occur in 18 of the country's 24 provinces. Social distancing measures will remain in place until June 28 and will be more flexible in regions with few or no cases of COVID-19. Schools remain closed while mass gathering shows, concerts and sporting events are still prohibited. To date, Argentina has registered more than 23,600 coronavirus cases and almost 700 deaths.
It's like we are reopening the store for the very first time. The expectations are to see how it goes because we have to pay the rent, pay the electricity, the taxes that will be due. Upon entering, a mat on the floor. Customers must clean their feet, put alcohol gel on their hands. They can see what is on display, and in case they want a certain model, they ask for a size, but they have to buy it without trying it on.
And the first Cuban medical brigade sent to the Italian city of Crema to fight the novel coronavirus has completed its mission and has returned to Cuba. 36 doctors, 50 nurses, and logistics specialists departed from Italy this Monday after having spent 2 months saving lives in the Italian city. The medical brigade was greeted on arriving at Havana International Airport by Cuban health authorities, and President Miguel Díaz-Canel sent his greetings in video conference. The brigade performed over 5,000 medical consultations, 3,600 nursing services, and was directly responsible for the recovery and discharge of 210 patients.
The warmth of the Italian people, their help, their collaboration, being reciprocal with what we were doing, made it possible that in the end we had the results that we accomplished, and that we were able to show the satisfaction of a job well done. I believe this is a huge milestone. We are talking about a pandemic caused by a virus we knew nothing about. I believe this was mutually beneficial as we all grew professionally and were able to learn a lot.
And the Cuban president offered a message of sincere gratitude to the medical brigade on their return.
Compatriots, welcome to the homeland. Just minutes ago, we finished today's meeting of the temporary task force in charge of facing the pandemic. Some of us have stayed to welcome you in the distance, which we will do more intimately when you have passed the quarantine, so we would not violate the established safety protocols. We, in the name of Raul, of our party, of our government, and of our people, we welcome you home. Your return fills us with immense joy, because you return healthy and with the most humanitarian and noble of missions accomplished, which is saving lives. After more than 2 months of intense and risky labor, we would like nothing more than to hug you one by one, to thank you for your heroic mission. But we can only try to reach your hearts today with words and tell you from our deepest emotion, thank you. We will meet soon more closely.
The Colombian Attorney General's office has launched an investigation into reports that 3 of the country's Navy vessels were found in Venezuela by the Bolivarian armed forces and remain in custody. The Deputy Attorney General Juan Carlos Cortés is leading the probe for the boats found on May 12 in the Meta River. The officers in charge of the ships were reportedly unable to investigate the vessels through the river, causing them to lose control. The Attorney General's office has ordered that more evidence be collected on the matter. A Colombian doctor for the front lines fighting COVID-19 has expressed fear for his life after receiving death threats and 2 funerals read. José Julián Huelva believes the threats come from paramilitary groups who accuse him of following patients to die.
Good afternoon. My name is Jose Julián Vuelvas Díaz. I am a doctor. I work in the ICU at Adela de Char Clinic in Soledad. Today, I have received 2 threats, one at my workplace and the other at my home. They accuse me of letting a woman die amidst the pandemic at the ICU. For us, it is impossible that we let anyone die. We prepare ourselves to be able to save lives. This is a cry for help to the national government, for myself, for my colleagues, and for all the doctors in this country. By God, for how long? We got to work every day, and in many cases, we don't even have the necessary conditions, and despite it all, we face this pandemic. By God, for how long?
In Chile, the Council of National Institute of Human Rights has called for speed and diligence in the clarification of the circumstances surrounding the murder of Alejandro Treuquil. The spokesman for the Mapuche indigenous community was killed shot to death as he and others were out looking for the lost horses. 3 others were injured in the incident. The council added that this situation is particularly worrisome given that he belongs to a protected group under international human rights law. The council also requests that the investigation allows for punishment of those responsible for his killing. Ecuadorian authorities have reported an airplane crash in Peruvian territory, resulting in 1 death and 3 injured. 2 people on board were involved in a corruption case having to do with the management of the COVID-19 health crisis. According to the preliminary report, the accident occurred while the plane was flying over the province of Zarumilla in the Peruvian department of Tumbes. Ecuador's Interior Minister Maria Paula Romo confirmed that among the injured are 2 citizens involved in an investigation into suppliers and heads of public hospitals for the purchase of overpriced medical supplies. Romo says that the Ecuadorian National Police is collaborating with its Peruvian authorities in the investigation of the case. And we'll take a very short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. North Korea has cut all communications lines with South Korea, including military hotlines, as tensions escalate between the 2 countries. At noon on Tuesday, North Korea shut down its inter-Korean liaison office, according to local media. This comes as Pyongyang denounced Seoul's failure to stop leaflets propaganda from getting into the north. It further warned that the campaign was a hostile act that violated the peace agreement made during the 2018 Panmunjom summit. And China's Foreign Minister Wang Ji told his British counterpart Dominic Raab on Tuesday that he expects the UK to respect China's legitimate right to safeguard national security in Hong Kong. Ji said that nations have the responsibility to defend multilateralism and together safeguard the international system with the United Nations as a strong guarantee for international peace and stability. He reminded Secretary Raab that Hong Kong's affairs are exclusively the internal affairs of China and said that China will not tolerate any external interference. China criticized the United States on Monday for also bringing its rivalry to the issue of the COVID-19 vaccine, warning that this field does not admit competition because human life is at stake. Hua Chunying, a spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry, deplored the accusations made by Republican Senator Rob Scott about Beijing's alleged attempts to stop or sabotage the development of an injection in Western countries. She urged him to show the evidence that, according to him, exists by denouncing the proliferation of rumors and maneuvers in the American territory to defame China. Chunying insisted that, like other nations, the United States must be committed to making its drug available for the public safety as soon as it is ready, and added that the research and development of the vaccine is not a matter of competition between the 2 countries. Healthcare workers have gathered outside the Gregorio Marañón Hospital in Spain's capital, Madrid, to protest against shortages. Demonstrators also rejected the privatization of the facility's cleaning service, with the Workers' Council calling it trickery. Protesters further called for better working conditions, which have deteriorated in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis.
Staff is exhausted. It's true, there have been many casualties, some directly related to COVID, others indirectly related to it. A lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of fear of coming back, a lot of fear of the new normal.
The pandemic has revealed that we are in a bad situation. We are being advertised as the best healthcare workers in the world, and we can become that if it is well managed. This has shown that we cannot perform or care for citizens like they really deserve. That's why we have this crisis.
Greece and Italy have signed a maritime border agreement which sets out mutual fishing rights, among other things. The new deal updates the 4-decade prior agreements and outlines the delimitations of certain maritime zones under international law. The agreement is of particular importance of Athens in an ongoing diplomatic spat with traditional rivals Turkey. Ankara last year signed a controversial agreement with Libya's unrecognized government in Tripoli, which claimed extensive areas of the sea for Turkey.
The sanitary emergency that has hit Europe has had a strong impact on the reform of the European asylum system, delaying the Commission's publication of the new pact and slowing down the negotiation process. But migration flows continues to represent a challenge for first entry member states.
And George Floyd will be buried in Houston on Tuesday, 2 weeks after his death, while being held by police in Minneapolis shred. George Floyd, 46, will be laid to rest in a grave next to his mother, Larcenia Floyd. The service at the Fountain of Praise Church comes after 5 days in public memorials in Minneapolis, North Carolina, and Houston, and 2 weeks after Minneapolis police officer was captured on video pressing his knee into Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Florida's death was begun wave of anti-racism protests across the world, while thousands have also pronounced themselves against police brutality and social injustice. Moldova have registered a record number of new cases of the novel coronavirus during the first week of June. According to data from the Ministry of Health, more than 1,400 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed last week, nearly 300 more than the previous week since the nation's first confirmed case on March 7. The Eastern European countries have registered 9,700 cases of the coronavirus and 346 deaths. While authorities imposed a number of restrictions, the rules often weren't respected, even by authorities. And New Zealand has lifted all the massive restrictions on social distancing and mass gatherings after reporting no active cases of the coronavirus. The country moved to level 1 after no new cases were reported for 17 days. New Zealand first went into lockdown on March 25th, setting up a 4-stage alert system going in at level 4, where most businesses were shut, schools were closed, and people were told to stay at home. The country's borders remain closed to foreign travelers, and New Zealanders arriving from abroad will have to do 17 days of isolation. Welcome back to From the South. Burundi's President Pierre Nkurunziza has died to a heart attack, the government of the Central African nation announced on Tuesday. Okay, we're going to make a very short break and we're going back. Don't go away, please. Welcome back to From the South. Burundi's President Pierre Nkurunziza has died at a heart attack, the government of the Central African nation announced on Tuesday. The government announced with great sorrow to Burundians and the international community the passing of President Nkurunziza at the age of 55. In a statement posted on Twitter on Tuesday, officials announced that the ongoing president died at Karusi Hospital after suffering a heart attack on June the 8th. In power since 2005, Nkurunziza was due to be replaced in August by political ally Evariste Ndayishimiye, who was declared earlier this month the winner of a May 20 presidential elections. And the World Health Organization has warned that the pandemic appears to be worsening worldwide, with more than 136,000 new cases reported globally in the last 24 hours. The UN body did support anti-racist protests, but urged people to take care.
Although the situation in Europe is improving, globally it's worsening. More than 100,000 cases have been reported on 9 of the past 10 days. Yesterday, more than 136 cases were reported, the most in a single day so far.
Monday, June 8th, Okay, thank you.
WHO fully supports equality and the global movement against racism. We reject discrimination of all kinds. We encourage all those protesting around the world to do so safely. As much as possible, keep at least 1 meter from others. Clean your hands, cover your cough, and wear a mask if you attend a protest.
In the United Kingdom, anti-racism protesters in the city of Bristol pulled down a statue of 17th century slave trader Edward Colston and dropped it into the city's river. The statue had been a focal point of local controversy for years, with many citizens, including a former Bristol MP, calling for it to be taken down. And the CIA agent involved in the murder of Major General Qasem Soleimani has been sentenced to death. Judiciary spokesperson Ghulam Hossein Ismaili said Mahmoud Mousavi Mah was a spy for the Mossad and the CIA. He disclosed that Mousavi Mah provided information to the U.S. and Israeli intelligence services about the whereabouts of Soleimani, which led to his assassination and escalated tensions in the region. Soleimani was killed during a missile attack on January the 3rd in Iraq's capital, Baghdad. And we have come to an end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on your website at telesurenglish.english and join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I'm Ernesto Dominguez. Thank you for watching.